All right, y'all. So as we've been talking about, I'm convinced that the U.S. government is lying about how many U.S. soldiers have been killed in the Middle East. Okay. In fact, I'm convinced they're lying about a number of different things around this war, but definitely deaths. And also, I think there are some soldiers who are captured and they're not really letting out that it's happening and how many of them are captured. And what we've seen both from Tel Aviv and from Washington is they've gone like a full authoritarian dictatorship. They are trying to control the flow of information. They're trying to mass propagandize. I mean, you are not getting anything remotely close to the truth when Trump comes out there and he says, I give this war a 15 out of 10. I give him a 15 out of 10. That's him basically trying to hype up the war as the reality on the ground is that Iran is much more powerful than what they thought they would be. Okay. And so in the midst of all this, Trump is incompetent, stupid, falling on his face, fucking everything up. And of course, what happened the other day was what's called the dignified transfer of 6 U.S. soldiers who were killed in the Middle East. Now, by the way, since then, there's been 2 more that they've acknowledged have been killed, but they pretend like it was some unrelated health issue that led to their deaths. Like, this is how low they're going. Like, they expect you to believe that 2, like, young, healthy soldiers died in the Middle East, but it was only because, not because of the Iranian shooting at them. No, it's because, they had some nondescript medical issue, right? So at the dignified transfer the other day, Donald Trump caused an absolute firestorm because, as you could see here from Blue Georgia, disgraceful that Trump is wearing a white baseball hat at the dignified transfer. Not only is he wearing a white baseball hat, it's one that he sells for profit. He sells this hat for profit. He was wearing it at the transfer. I haven't seen many other people point this out, but something I noticed as well is like most people are wearing black, because when everybody knows this, when you go to a funeral or you go to a wake, like you're supposed to wear black, right? He's wearing a navy blue suit and a bright red tie. He's not wearing black. Okay. So wearing a hat, which is like ultimately the sin of all sins when it comes to something like this. I mean, this is basic decorum stuff. When you talk about the duties of president, I mean, it's something that's as straightforward as, back in the day, like you weren't allowed to wear a hat in church. You can't wear a hat in church. It's like disrespectful. This is also viewed across the board as immensely disrespectful. Okay, so caused a firestorm as a result of that. Cuckturd points this out as well. Trump used Air Force One in a 50-car motorcade to attend the undignified transfer. Meanwhile, he stacked our dead heroes in 2 Amazon delivery vans. No hearses, no separate vehicles, no send-off. Nothing. So this is what it looked like. And, when I was first watching, it didn't really occur to me, but as he points this out, I'm like, oh shit, that's right. Like, what's going on here? It does seem like they're doing it the cheapest possible way. Like, it seems like they're actually trying to pinch pennies for something like this, which is insane. It's like when Trump has, an event at the White House and he orders McDonald's. He seems to do this all the time when he has some event there. It's like, what's actually going on here? Well, they're fucking cheap. And they're fucking classless, and they do shit like this all the time, okay? But I haven't gotten to the worst part. So Fox News, as you all know, is Trump regime propaganda. It's Republican propaganda. They don't give a shit about the truth. They've never given a shit about the truth. They give a shit about controlling the narrative. They give a shit about manufacturing consent for whatever GOP slop they're trying to shove down your throat, okay? So here is Fox News the other day, and as Aaron Rupar points out, wow, as first spotted by bad Fox graphics, Fox and Friends this morning used old footage of a previous dignified transfer to mislead their audience about the fact that Trump wore a baseball cap during the one yesterday. So here is what they played, saying that this was about the current dignified transfer. Watch this.
Now to your headlines. President Trump, First Lady Melania Trump, Vice President J.D. Vance, and Secretary Lady Usha Vance attending a dignified transfer to honor the final homecoming of the 6 U.S. service members killed in Kuwait. The solemn ritual returns the remains of troops killed in action. It is considered one of the most somber duties of a commander-in-chief. President Trump promising the nation that they will all be remembered as heroes.
So this is them protecting him. This is them protecting his image. This is them trying to spin it and make it look like, oh, yeah, yes, of course, he's doing his duties as president. It was perfectly appropriate. There was nothing wrong. There was nothing bad about this. So there was such an outcry. There was such anger. And this almost never happens with Fox News. They spew propaganda on a regular basis, and then they just move on like nothing happened, right? But this broke through. There was so much backlash. There was so much anger. There were so many people reaching out going, what the fuck are you doing? that they felt compelled on the next day to come out and say this. Watch.
Before we move on, we want to acknowledge a mistake made earlier on our program. During our coverage of yesterday's dignified transfer, we inadvertently aired video from an older dignified transfer instead of the ceremony that took place yesterday. We deeply regret the error and extend our respect and condolences to the service members' families. We honor the sacrifice of those 6 American heroes. They are Captain Cody Cork, Sergeant First Class Nicola Moore, Sergeant First Class Noah T. Chins, Sergeant Declan Cody, Major Jeffrey O'Brien, and Chief Warrant Officer 3, Robert Marzon. All American heroes. We'll be right back.
Interesting. They wouldn't say why they did what they did. They say, oh, we inadvertently aired. That wasn't inadvertent. You did that on purpose. There's no doubt about it. And they wouldn't say. They wouldn't say why. They wouldn't say, yeah, okay, you caught us. The reason why we did it is because the president was wearing a fucking blue suit and a baseball hat. And clearly, by the way, when he showed up, he wasn't wearing the hat. As soon as they're doing the fucking ceremony, he puts the hat on. What the fuck? Didn't tell the truth. Didn't say why. They were trying to protect his ass. They got caught. And now they come out and apologize. They don't give you the backstory. They don't give you the reality. So anybody watching this needs to understand and share this with your Fox viewing family members or friends. Understand, they always lie to you. They've always lied. The fair and balanced thing is such fucking horseshit. It's been horseshit since they were on the air in 1996. You go back and look during the Iraq war days. What do? They had their fucking pom-poms out. They were cheerleading for war day in and day out. Sean Hannity, Bill O'Reilly, even the so-called straight news people on Fox News, all of them were pumping relentless propaganda into the body politic of the American people, lying about how Saddam has weapons of mass destruction, Saddam Hussein is working with Osama bin Laden, they're going to attack us, we don't want the evidence to come in the form of a mushroom cloud, they're a real problem, we got to overthrow them. And now here we are, more than 20 years later, and all of us agree the war was fucking stupid, the war was dumb, the war was illegal, the war was offensive, that Iraq was worse off. You had the rise of Al-Qaeda and the rise of ISIS after we broke the region and destroyed Iraq. But every step of the way, Fox News lied. They did shameless fucking propaganda. And here we are today, it's the same goddamn thing. They're covering for Trump's ass, even though he's humiliating himself on a daily basis and being disrespectful on a daily fucking basis. By the way, how many times can Trump go out there and say, it's a bad part of war, but it's a part of war. Yeah, that's the way it is. Remember that? Didn't he say, that's the way it is when asked about more casualties? Well, yeah, it is what it is. That's the way it is. Like, I'm probably going to go to more of these things, he said. I'm probably going to end up having to go to more of these dignified transfers. How fucking nonchalant and blase can you possibly be in a situation like this? I mean, it is, and again, they're not going to tell you the truth. So you turn on Fox News, expect the propaganda, expect them to brainwash you, expect them to lie to you. They're not going to tell you, hey, didn't Trump run on being anti-war and now all of a sudden he's the biggest warmonger in U.S. history? Well, what the fuck happened here? They're not going to point that out. They're not going to play the old clips for you where he says, we wasted $8 trillion in the Middle East. Why would we do such a thing? That's a really stupid thing. They're not going to play that clip for you. They're going to play the clip of these idiots saying, Kamala's going to get you into World War III. I'm going to get you out of it. You're not going to have a war with me. You're not going to have a war with Iran with me. He literally said that. So just understand that if you watch Fox News, you want to be lied to. Guys, understand, they were sued for spreading lies about the 2020 election and pretending like Biden stole it and Trump won it. They were sued. They lost that lawsuit. They had to pay out $787 million for lying. Basically, one of the voting machine companies said, you lied about, what happened with our voting machines and you smeared us and it's libel, it's defamation, it's slander. We're going to come after you. And they ended up winning. And we have very strong free speech protections in this country. And they still lost that fucking case. From the day we got the decision on that case, literally nobody should have been watching Fox News from there on out because they admitted by paying out that $787 million, yes, we lied about you and we did it routinely and perpetually and you caught us and so I guess we're going to pay you now. That's what happened, right? But no, people kept watching them. And that's why these people are not going to know the facts. They're not going to know Trump's a warmonger. They're not going to know he's blackmailed by the Epstein files in Israel. They're not going to know he's paid by the military-industrial complex and the Israel lobby. They're not going to know that he wants a U.S. puppet to steal. He wants a U.S. puppet to run Iran and for us to steal their resources. They're not going to know that. They're going to think this is a war for freedom and liberation and democracy or whatever the fuck, or, it's Trump fixing the world, fixing the Middle East, or whatever nonsense they believe. But this is just such a clear-cut example of they know what their mission is. They know what their mission is. There was a group of them, producers or hosts or whoever, who sat there, saw the dignified transfer, saw all the shit that Trump was getting for wearing the hat, and they said, let's just run footage from an old one so, nobody in our audience sees that and dislikes it and disagrees with it. So absolutely disgusting. On a regular basis now, they're somehow hitting a new low. I saw them the other day as gas prices were skyrocketing. I saw one of them lecturing the audience like, oh, please, you think this is a big deal? This isn't a big deal. In World War II, we had to ration. The whole economy was changed to fight for the war effort. And you care about gas being $1 more expensive? Please. And it's like, could you imagine they said that under Joe Biden during inflation? Could you imagine? Well, hey, he's trying to fight a global pandemic, one of the worst in history. So, of course, there's going to be a little bit of economic pain. Get over it, please. No, they didn't do that. They'd never do that. They'd rip him a new fucking asshole. But here we are with Trump, and they're excuse every time. And so, but they're even willing to just flat out lie, show old footage, and pretend like it's the new footage because they want to protect his image that badly. Understand that. This isn't news. It's propaganda. It's a brainwashing factory. And at this point, if you watch it, you want to be brainwashed. You're a fucking lemming. You're a sheep. You're a cuck. You're not an independent thinker. And you're certainly not truth-seeking.
Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.